Welcome to today's video about foods that damage the brain. What if I told you that something on your plate right now could be chipping away at the very essence of who you are? Do you ever wonder why you feel foggy, forgetful, or just not yourself some days? Recent studies from leading institutions have unveiled shocking links between everyday foods and brain damage. The results? More jaw-dropping than you'd ever imagine. But which foods are the culprits? How much is too much, and how can you protect the most vital organ in your body? Join us as we uncover the unsettling truth about foods that damage the brain. You won't see your next meal in the same way again. Just a quick reminder, the information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice. Now, let's see the list of foods that damage the brain. Starting with number 1, sugary beverages. Sugary beverages have become a frequent part of many people's diets, but have you ever paused to consider their effects on our brains? Research has continuously shown that excessive sugar intake might not be the best for our gray matter. Let's break it down. Sugary drinks often lead to high blood glucose levels. Over time, this can create insulin resistance in the brain. A study from the Journal of Diabetes Research in 2018 suggested that brain insulin resistance could be linked to Alzheimer's. But what about memory? A study from Neurology in 2019 found that high sugar consumption could result in a smaller hippocampus, the brain's memory center. Imagine your cherished memories potentially being affected by that can of soda. Then there's inflammation. Excessive sugar can trigger inflammatory processes in the brain. An article in Frontiers in Neuroendocrinology in 2020 highlighted how brain inflammation could impact cognitive functions. Now, think about the fructose, commonly found in sugary drinks. It doesn't just add sweetness. A 2020 study in the Journal of Cerebral Blood Flow and Metabolism indicated that high fructose levels might reduce the brain's ability to synthesize energy, making tasks feel harder. In essence, while that sugary drink might provide a temporary boost, the potential long-term effects on our brains might give you a moment's pause. Next, number 2, trans fats. Trans fats, often found in junk food and certain baked goods, can be quite the villain for our brain. Ever wonder why? When we consume trans fats, they are known to induce inflammation. Inflammation, particularly chronic, is bad news for our noggin. A study from the Journal of Neurochemistry in 2019 discovered that these fats can activate molecules called inflammatory cytokines. These little troublemakers can disrupt communication between our brain cells. But wait, there's more. Trans fats can also play a role in reducing the flow of blood to critical areas of our brain. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2020, highlighted that higher trans fat intake is associated with poorer memory among working-age adults. On top of that, our brain loves omega-3 fatty acids, essential for cognitive function. Trans fats mess with our brain's balance of fatty acids. The European Journal of Nutrition in 2021 noted that trans fats can replace those crucial omega-3, hindering optimal brain function. In a nutshell, limiting trans fats can be a step towards keeping our brains sharp and agile. Remember, our brain's well-being is in our hands, and every dietary choice counts. Next, number 3, highly processed foods. Processed foods, especially the highly processed ones, have taken the spotlight in many recent studies for their impact on brain health. Let me break it down for you. Highly processed foods are often loaded with sugars and unhealthy fats. A study in the journal Neurology, 2017, pointed out that diets high in these elements can cause reduced brain volume. Think of it like your brain getting a little shrunk. And do you know what else these foods pack in? Additives. Some studies, like one published in Frontiers in Neuroendocrinology, 2019, suggest that certain food additives may affect neuroinflammation and increase the risk of brain disorders. Yep, those seemingly harmless additives can spark off unwanted reactions in our brain. The gut-brain connection is a hot topic nowadays. When you consume these processed foods, it might disrupt your gut health. A report from the European Journal of Nutrition, 2018, found that an unhealthy gut can send inflammatory signals directly to the brain. Imagine your gut and brain gossiping about your food choices, and, unfortunately, it's not all good chatter. So, the next time you're tempted by that packaged snack, remember your brain's plea. Give me something better. The evidence is clear, and your brain deserves the best. Next, number 4, aspartame. Aspartame, commonly found in diet sodas and low-calorie sweeteners, has raised eyebrows in the health community for years. Why? Well, when consumed, it breaks down into 3 components: aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methanol. Now, in high amounts, these compounds can be problematic. Methanol, for instance, gets converted into formaldehyde in the body. Yup, that's the same formaldehyde used in laboratories and embalming. The Journal of Neuropathology and Experimental Neurology, 2007, linked formaldehyde exposure to certain neurodegenerative diseases. That's alarming. Phenylalanine and aspartic acid, when excessively present in the brain, can disrupt neurotransmitter regulation. A study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2008, expressed concerns about aspartame's potential to increase the brain's vulnerability to oxidative stress. Look, I'm not here to scare you off your favorite diet soda, but it's essential to be aware and consider the potential risks. As always, moderation is key. Always keep yourself updated with recent research and listen to your body. Next, number 5, alcohol. When you have a drink, ethanol, the active compound in alcohol, begins to influence your brain's neurotransmitters. These are the brain's communication messengers. Ethanol can inhibit glutamate, a neurotransmitter responsible for excitability. This leads to a slowdown in brain activity, causing drowsiness or sedation. On the flip side, alcohol also increases the release of gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA, which has a tranquilizing effect. Ever felt relaxed after a glass of wine? That's GABA at play. However, consistent heavy drinking can shrink the brain. A study from JAMA Psychiatry in 2014 found a direct correlation between alcohol consumption and a decline in brain volume. This means vital brain functions get compromised over time. Moreover, binge drinking can interfere with the hippocampus, essential for creating memories. You might have experienced this as those infamous blackouts. Remember, it's all about moderation. While an occasional drink might be okay for many, excessive consumption can have long-lasting effects on your brain. Next, number 6, processed meats. Processed meats, like bacon, sausages, and ham, might not just be affecting your heart. They can have implications for your brain too. Recent studies indicate that consuming large amounts of processed meats can lead to an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases, like Alzheimer's. Wondering why? Well, many processed meats are high in nitrates, which are used as preservatives. In the body, these nitrates can transform into nitrosamines, known neurotoxins. One study from the journal Environmental Health Perspectives, 2019, demonstrated that nitrosamines could cause cellular damage, potentially leading to cognitive decline. Moreover, processed meats often come loaded with sodium and saturated fats. High sodium levels can negatively impact your brain's blood vessels, and a study in Nature, 2018, linked saturated fat to impaired brain function. When you grab that salami sandwich, remember you might be biting into more than just meat. Your brain could be on the line. It's always a good idea to balance out with other brain-boosting foods. Next, number 7, soybean oil. Soybean oil is one of the most commonly consumed vegetable oils, but there's emerging research that raises some concerns about its effects on the brain. Recent animal studies have delved deep into the impact of soybean oil on our brains. What they found was a bit concerning. A study published in Endocrinology, 2020, showed that soybean oil could affect certain genes in the brain, notably the ones linked to neurological conditions like autism, Alzheimer's, anxiety, and depression. Why is this happening? Well, the exact compounds in soybean oil causing these effects are still under investigation. But the studies did rule out two suspects, linoleic acid and stigmasterol. Interestingly, the modified soybean oil, engineered to be low in linoleic acid, still had adverse effects. Remember, these findings are from animal studies. The human brain and its responses can be different. So, while these results don't necessarily mean you should ditch soybean oil completely, it's a good reminder to diversify the oils in your diet and be aware of what you're consuming. And as always, keep an eye on new research. Science is a continually evolving field, and our understanding deepens with every study. Next, number 8. Caffeine. Excessive caffeine intake isn't just about those shaky hands or sleepless nights you might have experienced. Dive a bit deeper, and you'll see there's more beneath the surface. Consuming too much caffeine can lead to neurochemical imbalances. How, you ask? Caffeine mainly blocks adenosine receptors. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that relaxes the brain and makes you feel tired. Over time, excessive caffeine can lead to increased tolerance. This means you'll need more and more to get the same effects. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that high caffeine consumption can alter the brain's structure and function. Specifically, it impacts gray matter volume and sleep quality. Remember that time you couldn't sleep after that late-night espresso? It's not a coincidence. Also, according to a 2016 article in Frontiers in Psychiatry, excessive caffeine can exacerbate anxiety symptoms. In high doses, caffeine can overload the brain's neural pathways, triggering symptoms resembling anxiety disorders. So, what's the takeaway? Moderation is key. A cup of coffee can indeed kickstart your day, but overindulging can have unwanted effects on that precious brain of yours. Stay informed and sip smartly. Next, number 9. Foods with pesticides. Pesticides are chemicals used in agriculture to ward off insects, weeds, and fungal pests. However, some of these chemicals, when ingested, can be detrimental to our health, especially our brains. Certain pesticides are known neurotoxins. They interfere with neurotransmitters, those crucial chemicals that transmit signals in our brains. When these signals get muddled or blocked, it can lead to cognitive decline and other neurological problems. One notorious example is organophosphates. A 2016 study in the journal Environmental Health Perspectives found that children exposed to high levels of organophosphates had an alarming 7-point decrease in their IQ scores. And what's more concerning? Some of our favorite foods have high pesticide residues. Think strawberries, spinach, and even apples. A 2019 report in the journal Food and Chemical Toxicology highlighted these foods among those with the highest pesticide residues. Protecting our brain health means being mindful of what we eat. Opting for organic or thoroughly washing your produce can be a step in the right direction. Remember, what's on your plate today can impact your brain's health tomorrow. Next, number 10. Refined carbohydrates. Refined carbohydrates, like those in white bread or sugary snacks, cause rapid spikes in blood sugar. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine, 2013, found that even slight rises in blood sugar within the normal range could significantly increase the risk of dementia. When blood sugar spikes, it causes the body to release a surge of insulin. Over time, this continuous cycle can make the brain resistant to insulin. Now, why is insulin resistance a concern? A paper in Nature Reviews Neuroscience, 2012, revealed that insulin plays a vital role in signaling neuron growth, strengthening synaptic connections, and forming memories. So, when the brain becomes insulin resistant, it's not getting the proper signals to grow and form memories. Moreover, a diet high in refined carbs leads to inflammation throughout the body and brain. Inflammation is a key player in Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases, as evidenced by findings published in the Journal of Neuroinflammation, 2018. By regularly consuming refined carbs, you're not only inviting a blood sugar roller coaster but also potentially jeopardizing your brain's capacity to learn and remember. Next, number 11. Fish. Fish, generally lauded for its rich omega-3 fatty acids beneficial for the brain, can sometimes play a paradoxical role. The troublemaker. Mercury. High levels of mercury in certain fish, particularly large predatory species like shark and some types of tuna, are the cause for concern. Here's how it works. Mercury, especially in its methylmercury form, is a neurotoxin. When we consume fish with high levels of this compound, it gets absorbed into our bloodstream. Over time, excessive consumption can result in this toxic substance accumulating in the brain. This can potentially interfere with brain development in fetuses and negatively impact cognitive functions in adults. A landmark study published in the journal Environmental Research in 2020 showed a strong correlation between high mercury levels in the body and adverse neuropsychological effects. The report indicated that even low-level exposure to mercury could bring subtle neurological changes. While fish is undoubtedly nutritious and excellent for the brain, it's crucial to choose wisely. Opt for fish with lower mercury levels, like salmon or sardines, to reap the benefits while keeping risks at bay. We've journeyed deep into the science and myths of what's on our plate. The brain, our command center, deserves the best, doesn't it? Knowledge is power. And now that you're armed with the facts, your next meal can be a step towards a brighter, sharper future. Food affects all of us, no matter where we're from. So, share this knowledge. Together, let's nourish our minds and protect future generations. Thank you.